Martial law. What we all know is the inevitable. Is it already here? That's the big question. Now, we see these police forces and DHS, and they're all training for the actual declaration of martial law. But what's going on right now? We've uncovered some terrifying statistics and things that are absolutely shocking. And that is why we can literally prove that we as a country are under an undeclared state of martial law. That is the latest exclusive that we have just done, and I would like you guys to check it out. In fact, I'm going to show you a preview of it here in just a couple minutes. And in this exclusive, we've got tons and tons of statistics proving that we are in a complete and total undeclared state of martial law. And this is part 2 of a 3 or 4 part series that we're doing on it for the unlimited section of our website. And in this particular episode, we're getting into the beginning of psychological martial law. Alright, so I hope you guys check that out. It is worth your time, and of course, it is worth a simple $1 a week or $3 a month or $27 for a year. We put a lot of time and effort into it, and of course, it costs to make these things. Now, what we're covering in this article, and that we're about to read here, that is not what the exclusive is about or anything of that sort. I mean, yes, this article has to do with martial law, but all of the things that are in the videos that we produce exclusively, they're all our in-house research. So you're not really going to find it anywhere else on the web. You may find other people who have come to the same conclusions. Great, good on them. I highly doubt it though. Okay, so let's get into this one. DHS is using compromised communities to train and launch martial law by Dave Hodges. I have covered the travesties going on in Laramie County, Colorado with regard to the Stacy Lynn child abduction case. I found everything from a totally corrupt court system to a completely compromised Laramie County Sheriff's Department to evil public officials who still get elected besides the will of the people. Now, take note of that right there. It doesn't matter who we try and elect as a people. Their will, the elite's will, is going to get into office, whoever it be. It does not matter. They're going to get in there one way or another. Now, let's continue. From the locals, when they heard what I was doing to try and get Stacy's son Jaden back, they were telling similar stories. I think I made it. Nope, I didn't. The courts would take their children, and some found that their child was being trafficked. Despite reports that were filed, no local agency would investigate. I've made many friends as a result of my going on 5-year investigation. The People's Republic of Laramie County. As I indicated in yesterday's article, I found witches and witchcraft at the center of these Agenda 21-2030 policies. And as I said in yesterday's article, the Larry Nichols revelations that when he was working for Hillary and Bill, he had firsthand knowledge of Hillary's activities as a witch. It has also been my research conclusion that when one finds witchcraft, child sex trafficking, and blood sacrifices are not far behind. Since the 1970s, Lemire County has been compromised by witchcraft in its leadership positions in Sheriff's Department. Since the mid-1990s, Agenda 21 policies have dominated the people. I spoke with local resident Virginia Farver last week, and she reiterated the mantra that Fort Collins, located within Lemire County, is beautiful on the outside, but it's hopelessly compromised on the inside. The conditions make Agenda 21 dominated Lemire County and the ideal to headquarter occupation troops to be rolled out when needed. And with the Gurkhas located alongside Russian commandos in nearby La Porte, Colorado, the case is made. Now, what's interesting about this is he's focusing on this town in Colorado, or the city in Colorado. I believe it's a town. I'm not sure. County. Wow, I missed that one. County in Lemire County in Colorado. Now, what's important to note is witchcraft is at the center of just about every single state in America. It has infested and taken over completely. Since the 1970s, he mentions, I wouldn't be surprised, especially in Indiana, if it's been here since Indiana became a state. Indiana's horrendous for witchcraft. Now, your state may be different. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it may not be as infiltrated with witchcraft and, of course, all the other crap that comes with it. But it's worth looking into because typically you're going to find the same sort of thing. Indiana is more Freemasons, and the Freemasons have infiltrated just about everywhere. And we're talking every town has somewhat a tie to Freemasonry. And the town is generally run by the Freemasons. And there will be no changing that. Let's continue. I was going to say something else, but yeah. In Indiana, it's the Scottish Rite Cathedral. That's downtown. Of course, you've got in Indianapolis, you've got other places that are just livid with Freemasonry. All their occultic activity. It all goes on there. And of course, the police in Indiana, they're all involved with it. Maybe different for your state, but it sounds like we're hearing the same thing here. So I'm recognizing the things that are going on here because I can literally go look up certain cases or certain things that have taken place in Indiana and tell you the same thing. Now, the troops and things, as far as that goes, that's more, of course, in southern Indiana. Northern Indiana might be the same. I have never been up there, and I haven't really looked up there. I've only really focused research around Indianapolis and Beech Grove. Because Beech Grove, as you all should know by now, just had a massive military drill not too long ago, a couple days ago, and it scared everybody to death. Why? Because there's a large FEMA station right there that is heavily guarded. And it's an old rundown rail station. Train station, whatever you call it. If you want to know about this compromised community and what it means to roll out for martial law, simply put Stacy Lynn into the search engine of the Common Sense Show's website. The People's Republic of Carbon County, Rawlins, Wyoming. Yesterday I was asked why I was so quick to put Rawlins under the microscope. The fact is that I have heard it all before. My 8th grade English teacher, Mrs. Chaffin, was from Rawlins, and to hear her describe her experience of growing up in Rawlins, you would have thought that she had escaped from hell. The following are the things I remember her saying. On Halloween, my sibling and myself used to hide in our house, not daring to sleep in our beds, for fear that witches would find us for human sacrifice. I thought Mrs. Chaffin was kidding and had fallen under the spell of Edgar Allan Poe, who we read a lot about. There it is. She spoke of witches' gatherings behind the prison gates. She said the teachers and the police made certain that everyone acted as they were supposed to. Free speech was not tolerated, and I am glad I escaped. You know what's really interesting is psychics are also infesting Indiana as well. And they had a huge psychic convention. I think it was back in 2012. Must have been. Yeah, it was 2012. And the very day that they were doing their little ritual or whatever, it actually began to hail. And it was after they had finished their incantation or whatever they were doing. I was not in attendance, of course not, but we all heard about it. Of course, I mean Emma and myself. We heard about it and we looked into it. and it was posted on their blogs and so on and so forth. Look at this, we made it rain and hail and thunder and so on and so forth. And if you guys don't know spiritual warfare, I highly suggest you get into it. That way you can understand what's actually going on. The communications I'm receiving from Rawlins County are very bleak. They represent a mix between the movies The Invasion of the Body Snatchers and The Stepford Wives. In short, the locals are scared. Since I ran an anonymous letter from a Rawlins citizens in yesterday's article, I've received 4 or more. They all describe a community, i.e. Rawlins, in which the local members live in absolute fear. From the local newspaper, the Rawlins Times, we get a sanitized version of the truth as they address the suicide issue. The issue of suicide with the young in this community has been a persistent problem since the turn of the century, since 1999. Wyoming has had one of the highest suicide rates in the nation. In 2002, 2003, and 2006, Wyoming had the highest rate of any state, and nowhere is it higher than in Rawlins. This is a letter. Dear Dave, I have listened to your show for almost 3 years. I never dreamed that you would get around to goings on in my town. Having grown up here, I can tell you that there is a general foreboding that overshadows everything. There is no joy. Everyone is controlled and managed. We are like Colorado City in your state, but only worse. I know people in nursing, and I am convinced that we are going to see the release of a deadly virus here. They are planning to set up practice mandatory vaccination centers at the fairgrounds. The thinking is that this is for practice, for what DHS is going to take national. I have found out that they are practicing setting up roadblocks for mandatory vaccinations. I feel that if the wrong people knew I was writing this, my life would be in danger. Certainly, I would lose my job. That's the same thing here, because we have a massive fairgrounds in Indianapolis. I don't know if you guys can relate. I'm sorry I'm going back to my state so much, but I can just sit here and relate to just about everything. We have a massive fairgrounds, and it is all walled off and everything. It would be like a perfect center for a FEMA camp or something of that nature. And of course, it was probably built for that. Now, if you all know, if you've looked at a map and you've looked at Indiana, there's a huge ring called Interstate 465, which circles Indianapolis. It is the absolute, I wouldn't say city limits, but if they were to lock everybody in the city, that's where the border fence would be, 465. They would bring everybody into the city, lock it all down, and nobody would get in or out, because it's a ring. The above email is to be taken seriously. Please look at the following brochure that is making its way around Rawlins. Carbon County Public Health will be executing a required yearly POD exercise on Wednesday the 18th at the Jeffrey Center from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. A point of dispensing POD site, a mass medication dispensing location that is capable of providing pills, tablets, capsules, or vaccinations to protect the general population from biological threats or epidemics. Come support public health and your community by participating in a drill that will help assess the county's preparedness for an epidemic. Man, it literally is going on just about everywhere. Just last year, right around the time of Jade Helm, Indiana had massive preparedness for an epidemic, except the epidemic was real. It was quote-unquote HIV. And that was infecting southern Indiana. I don't know if you guys heard about it. It made national news and so on and so forth. But also in Indiana happened to be the mass casualty units. That was also here as well. I hate when you can relate to things, because then, I don't know. Anyways, this year, public health will be testing the drive-through aspect of the POD that would be used to assist the at-risk population. The POD entrance is located at 3rd Street, and we can skip that for the rest of it if you want to. Katie Whelan, the health reporter from the Common Sense Show, was provided the following information from a friend in the area. Sent to KDW, this military convoy was here May 2016, Wednesday, today, at our fairgrounds in Rawlins. This is only a beginning of the convoy. There's more, and throughout the whole day, we have been swamped with military convoys coming in, and we don't even have a military base. That says it all. Here is a brochure distributed by local Wyoming business to its employees about a martial law drill that was held in April. It was obtained from a friend of the Common Sense Show's health reporter, Katie. To all employees and contractors, emergency response exercise, April 22nd, 2016, Carbon County, Rawlins, Sinclair. This is just a drill. How many more just a drills are there going to be? Because it seems like every time they do these massive drills, and it's always around this time of year, and they'll do it until about the middle end of fall. And when they do them, it feels like directly after they've brought in another level of the police state, or they've brought in more control. And all it does is bring about more fear. People get scared. And of course, this is exactly what we're reading about right now. And that's why this article makes perfect sense, because they are using compromised communities. And to take it a step further, they're creating the compromised communities to then control, because they bring about the fear in them. But anyways, I'm going to let you guys finish the rest of this article. That's all I've got for you. Make sure you check out our exclusive. God bless and carry on.
We need your help. That is why we have this membership program. So please sign up today and become a member of freedomfightertimes.com. $3 a month, $1 a week, or $27 per year. God bless and carry on.